Hey everybody, it's Derek for the Grumpy Guy Show, episode number 60. Good or bad, make up your mind. Recorded on Tuesday, August 9th, 2022. Tonight's topics are building collapses, aquariums, and she's gone international. Stick around, it's a good episode. Good evening everybody, welcome to the Grumpy Guy Show. I'm Derek McAllister.
And I'm Ryan McAllister.
So, we got a packed show tonight. 4 topics. That's right, 4 of them.
Watch we breeze through them in like 5 minutes.
I suppose that'd make up for the extra long episode from last week, huh?
Where we had, 2, 3 topics?
No, I think we had 4, but...
Wow.
Yeah, we ended up with almost 40 minutes last week. I don't know if that'll happen again this week or not, but we shall see what happens. So what do you say we transition?
Woo!
So the first topic that we have, it's about Amtrak service out in the Albany area, Albany, New York, that is. Apparently they shut down because a building collapsed, or partial collapse. It was, I guess, part of a wall collapsed onto the tracks. So here's the brilliant solution that our New York State government came up with. Let's repair this abandoned building so that the tracks can open. Yep. Repair it. Rather than take this abandoned building down, we're going to spend taxpayer dollars to fix a wall and then probably in a year from now tear the damn building down anyhow. I mean...
You're gonna fix the building in this economy?
Yeah. Well, because what they'll do is they're going to say, oh, look, we created 100 jobs. Of course, there are 100 jobs that last for 2 weeks, but we created 100 jobs. Come on.
It's all about getting reelected.
Yeah, but even without the whole...
And job creation equals reelection.
But even without the whole political angle on it like that, we're approaching a recession. Some people would say we're in a recession, but...
I was going to say, aren't we already in one?
It depends on who you talk to. Depends on the definition of recession that they use. It's... If you start talking to Republicans, they're going to say that we're in a recession, and we have been for 2 years now. You talk to Democrats and say, no, we came out of a recession 2 years ago. The realistic view is it's coming. It's coming sooner than anybody really truly wants to say that it's coming. But it's coming. And that's where the issue comes from, or the issue that I have comes from. They're going to repair this building using taxpayer dollars instead of, say, spend that $100,000 or $500,000, whatever it's going to cost to repair this stupid building.
And just flat out get rid of it.
Yeah, the cost to just take it down.
Not being used.
Just to take it down. It can't. I mean, granted, it's going to cost money, but they're going to take it down anyhow.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of this crap of let's spend $500,000 now to repair it so the tracks can open, and then down the road we'll look at the feasibility of tearing it down, which by the way will probably cost another $500,000. So now we spent $1 million for this fix. Instead of just saying, screw it, $500,000, it's done, gone, goodbye, we don't have to think about it again. This is taxpayer dollars that are just getting thrown out the door. And some of the problem is the railroads have so much power, but that can only be fixed at the federal level. And in this case, the feds don't care. Because this is state taxpayer dollars. Because it's state taxpayer dollars that are keeping this stupid building there instead of tearing it down. I don't know if they even know who the owner is, if they hold the owner responsible or not. But they're just like, hey, let's fix it so we can get this back up. It's insane. I get it. Maybe Amtrak service is actually used significantly out in Albany area. Maybe that's happened, but I don't know. You know, in the pandemic that we're in right now, there's still not a ton of people going into the office. I know Albany traffic is a whole lot worse than what it is here in Syracuse, but we're still in a pandemic. Most companies are at most back to 50% in office. And that's not 50% all at once. That's 50% in some form of hybrid model where you've got people going in a couple of times a week. They're not going in every single day. Yeah, you've got some that do, but not many. So it's just a ridiculous use of money. And it's all because these politicians, they're not paying for it. They don't pay taxes. All right, they pay taxes, but not the same rates that everybody else pays. In part because, oh, that's right, they're rich. We've spoken about that many times. But,
Yep.
In part because when they're paid by taxes, so, they're not going to pay taxes to pay their own salary. What they're taxed is based on other things, not their salary or something like that. I don't remember. I don't know the whole thing, but it's ridiculous to think that we're gonna do this. And it doesn't do anything but say, oh, let's get the tracks open right away. Seriously. How much would it take just to go over there and knock half the building down so that it's not going to affect the tracks long enough for, a proper planning to demolish the building? If it's already collapsing, throw a wrecking ball at it a couple of times and it's going to frickin' fall on its own. I mean, it's a brick building, which means the structure of the building is the brick walls. It's not like, it's not like a wood frame building where you have a frame that is a structure. No, the wall is the structure. And who knows how old it is. If you don't keep a brick structure heated, the mortar joints, the mortar and the joints created with the mortar get weakened. How long has it been abandoned? How long has it been without heat? I mean, come on. These are things that should be looked at, not, hey, how can we get Amtrak up and running as fast as possible? I don't know. But what do I know? Other than it's transition time.
Other than get rid of that stupid building.
Yeah, get rid of the dumb building. So, speaking of things falling down.
Ooh.
Yeah, see? Good transition there.
Good transition.
So, I was watching the news. It happened to be like the day after that one. Or maybe it was... Maybe it was... it was the day after. So, they come on and they say, breaking news! And I'm like, all right, breaking news, great. So they start talking about how the Onondaga County Legislature passed the $85 million aquarium bill. I'm like, oh, that's breaking.
Okay.
So something that the only ones that really truly wanted were, the Republicans. But actually, it wasn't the Republicans; it was the Democrats mostly. But supposedly, I don't know. I think Onondaga County Legislature is balanced between Democrats and Republicans. But every Republican voted for it except for one. One Republican went against it. And
that's interesting.
Interestingly enough, the bill passed by one vote.
Well.
So it's like, come on. You've got people that are there protesting the thing. Nobody's there supporting it other than the politicians who, somehow think that we're going to attract $85 million worth of sales at this thing that obviously hardly anybody really, really, truly wants because there's so much protest against it. But, they go on talking about that. And then 10 minutes later, they say, oh, and by the way, there was a partial collapse of a wall of a building, an occupied apartment building. Partial collapse of the wall. And the house next to it, along with the apartment, had to be evacuated. I'm like, so this stupid aquarium that nobody wants is more important than the fact that these, I think it was like 8 people, or 8 families, whatever. These 8 families have no home now. All of the sudden, every apartment in the building was occupied. The house next door to it was occupied. And I'm not talking just, people lived there. I'm talking these apartments were full. The house was full. There was somebody in the house. There were people in every apartment. And the aquarium is more important than talking about this collapse. I'm like, where the hell are your priorities?
That's a good question. What the hell are everybody's priorities?
I mean, an $85 million freaking aquarium that nobody wants other than the executive because, it's going to be called the Ryan J. McMahon Jr. or whatever the hell he is, third, I don't know. It's going to be that aquarium. Okay, great. So you got your name in history again. Ooh.
Who cares?
Nobody wants the stupid thing. Syracuse isn't a big enough city to support an aquarium. Especially one that cost $85 million. We're not going to get enough in taxes. I mean, granted, I shouldn't say we because I care less. It's not coming out of my taxes. I don't live in Onondaga County.
Mm-hmm.
But, the bigger thing is, these occupied buildings had a partial collapse that could have killed somebody. And because it didn't, it's not as important as this stupid aquarium.
That nobody wants.
Yeah. In structures like that, there were so many people that were there, protesting it, and they said, we need to put this $85 million towards housing. Let's fix the housing crisis. And yet, they still vote to pass it while this building collapses. Mm-hmm. So, now you've got like eight families out of a house.
Crisis. How are you going to fix the housing crisis if you're letting a building collapse when you're prioritizing a stupid aquarium worth $85 million and nobody wants it?
Yeah. Yeah, no, nobody wants it. And, I mean, seriously, we're just not going to... There's no way... Again, I'm saying we. I don't care. It's not my tax dollars. But there's just no way they're going to recuperate that anytime soon. There's just no way it'll happen. It's going to become an expense that the county just can't afford, and they're going to have to raise taxes again. And what's that mean? Well, it means now that they're paying for this stupid building they insisted on building, they're not going to be able to say, oh, well, we're going to have to shut it down because what else can you use it for? You can't use it for anything else.
$85 million.
Yeah, and of course, the dean of what the heck is she? The dean? I don't know. She used to be the county executive, Joni Mahoney. She's, our school is going to back this up. I think it's SUNY ESF or something like that. Not the dean, the president of it or something. I don't know what the hell she is, but oh, we're gonna support this with our, as part of our educational process, blah blah blah. I'm like, no, you're not.
No, you're not.
It's just not gonna happen. But what do I know? Right
But
about now,
hey, what do I know?
yeah, right about now. What do I care?
Hmm.
Not my tax dollars. It's
Not my county.
yeah. Unfortunately, it's only
Not
a
my
matter of
county. Not
time.
my problem.
It's only a matter of time before they whine to the state, and the state says, "Oh yeah, yeah, we'll give you money." Dumb.
Hmm. Money that they don't have.
Exactly. And that's the whole thing. It's just money that nobody has at this point in time. But what will they do? Well, they'll vote to give themselves a raise, and then say, "Oh well, our debt's just growing and growing. We got to do something about it." Okay, well, stop giving yourself raises. Well, no, that's not going to help. Really?
And then they'll vote to give themselves another raise.
Yeah, and then whether you're talking about the governor or the president, depending on what level you're talking about, he'll say, "Oh well, I'm opposed to this." And then they'll say, "Oh well, don't worry about it. You'll get a raise too." Oh, I suppose I could support this. Just
As far as the
insane.
president goes, he probably doesn't even know what's going on.
Yeah. But speaking of government, guess
I'm
what
amazed that
that
man
brings
is
up?
insisting that he's running again.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised the Democratic Party's letting him run again. Unless they realize
Exactly.
that Harris just hasn't done any favors for herself.
Unless they realize that Harris can't win.
Yeah, it's
She's basically Hillary 2.0.
yeah. Yeah, and unfortunately with it they're probably hoping for the minority sympathy vote, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they're going to get it. I don't think that Hillary got it, and I think that's why she lost. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that Harris is going to be able to garner that either,
In
the way that
Hillary's case, it
Obama
was
did.
because she took. In Hillary's case, it was because she picked a boring white guy as her running mate. What's his name from Virginia?
I don't even remember who she had, but it's unfortunately, they half of the reason that Obama won was because of the minority vote. Suddenly there was a
And the other half
huge
was because the
outpouring of
economy
minorities.
sucked.
Yeah. The economy sucked and he promised to make changes to it, and the Republicans didn't have a strong candidate going against him. So,
Yeah,
you know,
It was not McCain's year.
no, McCain was good as a senator, but he couldn't show that he would be a good president. And
Mm-hmm.
and that's why he had no chance at all to win. And that's taking out what I would call the minority sympathy vote, as far as so many black people turned out to vote for Obama. And the only
That's also
reason,
taking out the age factor.
yeah,
He was like he would have been the oldest president we had at the time.
yeah, but even beyond all that, I mean, what I'm saying is this is a minority sympathy vote. Is a lot of people voted for Obama just because he was black. If the
Mm-hmm.
Republicans had a stronger candidate, that wouldn't have mattered, because enough of those minorities would have gone with, you know, they would have gone with the Republican Party. You know, yes, there is that minority sympathy vote, but at the same time, there's a lot of people that aren't just going to vote for somebody just because, oh well, I'm black, he's black, or I'm Latino, he's
Mm-hmm.
Latino, or I'm a woman, she's a woman. There's not enough to overturn the end result, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So yes, a lot of black people voted when Obama ran the first time because he was
And a lot of
black.
people voted against him.
Yeah.
A lot of black people voted against him.
Yeah. And that's it. I mean,
And even more black people probably stayed home. Just like most people in general.
yeah, I think that was one of the larger turnouts for voting in recent history, but, I honestly don't think that Obama won because of the sympathy vote. I think he won because he was, as much as I don't want to admit it, he was a stronger candidate.
He was.
There's no two no two bones about it. He was a stronger candidate. So I think he would have won even if he was white. And I'm not saying that he was a horrible president, but I'm not going to say he was a good president. I don't think we've had a good president since I've been alive. They're all much more
Really?
about. Yeah, I don't really think so. They're all much more about getting their names in history.
Bush Sr. was actually pretty good.
He did what he could for the country to the best of his ability, but
And then he raised taxes.
With that, the Democrats kind of cornered him. It's the whole pork barrel thing.
They forced him to break his promise.
Yeah, because they put it together with all kinds of other stuff that was absolutely necessary to save the economy. So they put it in there, and he didn't have a choice. It was either do that and break his promise or watch the country go down and lose the vote anyhow. So, that's really the way that it went with him. So I'm not saying we've had horrible presidents. I'm just saying we haven't had any great presidents. But at any rate,
we have had horrible presidents. Look at the current one and the one before him.
Yeah. You can look at that in two different ways. I mean,
that's why we need an age limit.
We do need an age limit on all politicians. Not just the presidential level. There needs to be an age limit, but that
term limits would help too.
Yeah.
Term limits other than the president.
Yeah. But you kind of run into issues with that as well. It's not a perfect situation no matter what you do, but but
because there's no such thing as a perfect situation.
No, and I think the problem we have is it's not getting any better, and it's not going to get any better anytime soon. Unfortunately, it's way too much about getting your name in history than it is about anything else.
Is this the point in the conversation where you mentioned that revolution?
Yeah, it's gonna happen sooner or later. It has to. We can't continue with this spending spree and everything that's happening. But who knows?
Continuing to add to our debt, which is already well into the trillions, up to almost 40 trillion, I believe.
Yeah, and then
probably past 40 trillion by now.
Yeah, and rather than doing the right thing and stopping giving countries money and giving these businesses money so that they can make bigger profits, until that stuff stops, it's just going to keep going. And every time we get close to the debt ceiling, that's all right, we'll just raise it. It's okay. Don't worry about it. That's only going to make things worse.
Yep.
And there's not a whole lot that can be done. The only way to do anything about it is truly a revolution. It's unfortunate. There needs to be a third party that has as much power as the two parties we have right now. And I
think Ross Perot should have been that third party.
I don't know. The problem,
I'd say he was the best at both sides.
The problem is there's just not enough money. I mean, we've talked
Hmm.
about it before. These political campaigns have
He had
become.
money.
He didn't have that
He had a
much.
buttload of money.
He didn't have what it takes to compete with the Republican Party and the Democrats. No. He had a lot and he spent a lot, but I mean, you look at like the New York State governor for just for that, for Cuomo, when he was basically going unopposed, he still spent probably close to 40 or 50 million dollars easy, and he was basically unopposed.
Surprised he wasn't literally unopposed.
Well, like I
Because
said, basically
we all knew that he was gonna win regardless.
yeah, and that's why the Republicans kept throwing up crappy alternatives, because they knew they're not gonna waste somebody who's got potential, when they know he's gonna lose. Put him up there, he's got potential. Okay, well, let's keep him in the House or in the Senate for now, so that he doesn't become some idiot up there speaking, making dumb statements, and end up losing the election because he made stupid statements.
Obviously, that's not why he would lose. It's because
Well,
Cuomo.
no, I mean, he would lose trying to get reelected to his current seat, because while
Okay.
running for governor, he made himself out to be a fool.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. But anyway, we got another topic to jump to.
Let's just jump into it.
That's right, we're gonna jump into it. So this
As
one,
as a cliched YouTuber once said.
all right, I'll take your word for that. So, with this one, more about politics.
Oh.
Yeah. This one has to do with the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, going to Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
She's not an international representative of the United States. Plain and simple. She is not. She is the Speaker of the House of Representatives in Congress. That's it. That's all she is. She is not, she is not the part of the State Department or anything like that. So why in the world is she going over to Taiwan, where there's already major tensions between the United States and China? Why is she going over there?
Question. Why is she going over there
But
when we
here's
have a perfectly good Secretary of State that's probably not really doing much right now?
yeah, but here's the other problem. She goes over there, and she has to have security to protect her. So not only are we paying for her stupid mouth to go over there, we're also paying for security to go over there to protect her. And now we've caused tension between China and the United States, all because she feels the need to go over there. Why?
Why?
This is how stupid politics are. This is the Democratic Party, who, by the way, at first were completely...
She should be in Washington right now, actually doing work that she's supposed to do.
She's back there now. This was last week that she went. But here's the problem. The Democratic Party fought with her and told her, no, you should not go. This would not be good for the United States. And then what happened?
And they were right.
Well, then what happened? She went over there and, she goes over there, and then a spokesperson for the Democratic Party says, well, she's got the full support of the Democratic Party. What the heck?
That's because she's basically the leader of the Democratic Party.
I'm like...
The only two people ahead of her are a dude with dementia and Kamala Harris, who nobody likes.
But, I mean, seriously...
So by default, she is the leader of the Democratic Party.
But this
unfortunately.
This is the whole problem there is with politics. They argue with her and argue with her and argue with her, and it's well known that they're arguing with her and telling her she should not go. And then she goes, and it's like a light switch. They flip it. Oh yeah, we support her fully. What the hell? Make up your mind. Either you support her or you don't. That's it. There's no in-betweens. Pick one.
Mm-hmm. Pick one and stick with it.
It's like all the primaries. You get, look at the last Democratic primary. Harris and Biden, they're ripping each other apart. And then all of a sudden,
More so Harris ripping Biden apart. Biden was just standing there, probably not sure what year it was.
Yeah, but
probably thinks he's still running for Senate.
But seriously, you look at this, and they sit there, they rip each other apart, and then all of a sudden he wins the primary, and then they're best friends. Oh, yeah, she's the greatest out there. Oh, he's just wonderful. I just really love him. I can't wait to be his vice president. Really? Mm-hmm. Make up your mind.
Like any other time somebody chooses someone that ran against them in the primary as their running mate.
Yeah, and
Bush called Reaganomics voodoo economics, and then he supported him wholly throughout the next 8 years.
Oh, yeah, and then he tried extending it for another 4 years.
And that didn't really work.
Yeah. It's ridiculous to me.
Economy slows down, and he's stuck breaking his promise.
Yeah.
Or fuck.
But, I don't know. And this is why I keep saying we need a third party that is as powerful as these first two. The only way it's going to happen will never happen. But the only way it's going to happen is if all donations are pooled together and they're split evenly amongst 3 parties.
Mm-hmm.
It's never going to happen, though. They'd have to completely and totally eliminate the party type of thing.
This is why I support ranked choice voting.
I don't know what that is, to be honest with you.
I've previously mentioned that it's like you vote for the candidate you want, then you rank then the second one you want, then you third on back.
Yeah.
And you eliminate who's on the bottom in like runoff elections.
Yeah, that in theory that would work. The problem is I think the only way that would work is to set up some kind of online voting.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem there is that just opens it up to a lot of fraud.
Yep.
If everything is electronic, there's tons of fraud that can happen. Tons of hacks that can happen, no matter how many, no matter what you do.
Even when it's not online, there's plenty of fraud. Look at Florida in 2000. I'd be willing to bet that Al Gore still thinks that the election was stolen from him.
Oh, I'm sure he does, but, he's living his life of luxury now, so he doesn't care.
Yep.
But, oh well. I seriously don't understand why we're spending the money to send somebody to another country. She wants to pull the money out of her own pocket to pay for it. Okay, go for it. But that's not what happened.
Have fun.
Yeah, it wasn't a vacation.
If she's paying for it for herself, then have fun.
Yeah, if she's paying for herself, she's not meeting with heads of state, and she's paying for the security detail, go for it. I don't care. It's a vacation.
But she's not.
She's not paying for any of it. She's not paying for food. She's not paying for drinks. She's not paying for the security details. She's not paying for hotels. She's meeting with heads of state. This is a political thing. And I can understand why China's pissed off about it.
Exactly. They should be.
If you want to send the Secretary of State over there, job. Yeah, you want to send the Secretary of State over there to discuss things, okay.
I think the Secretary of State should be pissed about this.
Yeah, well, isn't the Secretary of State also a Democrat?
Yeah, probably.
And as long as he
Knowing
was a
that
Democrat, yeah,
knowing the president appoints Secretary of State and the president's a Democrat.
yeah, and as long as the Secretary of State is a Democrat and the Democratic Party is supporting Pelosi all of a sudden, they're going to tell him, shut up or you're not going to get any financial support for your next campaign. Granted, he's appointed. He's appointed.
Yep, appointed.
However, once
We're not
Biden's
support
out,
your boss's campaign.
No, they won't threaten that. Once Biden's out, a new Secretary of State comes in. What's this one going to do? Run for another office.
Probably.
So, that's what'll happen, and it's really unfortunate, but it's all about the money.
Or they could just somehow land in the private sector like a lot of politicians do.
Yeah. I don't know. More than likely, they've made enough money that they can do whatever they want anyhow without having to work again.
Exactly.
Probably some stipulation in there that, once they're no longer Secretary of State, they get so much money per year, full benefits and everything else, and of course, security detail too.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't get it. But that kind of stuff is it leads right back to revolution has to happen. Something has to change so that you don't have these elite people making decisions that affect those at the bottom of the pyramid. That was the idea. The politics was not supposed to be a career. You weren't. You look back. There was a reason that they were like the summertime. There was a reason that there's not a session, and it's because they went back to work on the farm. Same reason that schools
or
weren't,
whatever.
Yeah, it's the same reason that schools weren't. The same reason that schools don't have session during the summer, because the children went back. They needed to be on the farm working the farm.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way that it was. Politics, it's a fairly recent thing that it became about a career. And the fact that they're making so much money that it's a career is ridiculous. And that's why you have these politicians that are in there for 40, 50 years. It's also why you have so many politicians making decisions about technology they don't know.
President only got 4 years off after 50 years.
Yeah. Yeah. But, I don't know. All right, folks. Well, we didn't get to the last topic because this one dragged.
Yep.
But I'm sure you hear the music starting up in the background.
In that case, good night.
We'll see you.